Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you here to the what used to be city streets out here in Spa-Francorchamps in the country of Belgium, a small country developed to help keep France and Germany from fighting with each other. That didn't go very well. And now the home of one of the most famous race tour X in the world. I'm Insanely R13, once again doing broadcasting for Extreme Racing League, and I'm being joined in the broadcast booth here today by XRL Ozda. Ozda, it's very nice to have you back in the booth with me again. I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race here today. I know that a lot of drivers are kind of, struggling with Eau Rouge especially, and also maybe Sector 3 as well. So we may see some yellow flags there here today, but all around it's a great, nice technical track here. I would say probably a little bit more technical than Hungary, which we had last week, but all in all, it should be a good race here today.
All right, real quickly looking down the driver lineup, we have in the Mercedes team XRL Snake and XXX Bucks XXX. For the Scuderia Ferrari team, XRL Smith and XRL Turbo continue to try to turn around the Ferrari results. Aston Martin Red Bull, right now, Whippy is the only one who has shown up yet. We anticipate he should have a teammate show up before race starts. For the McLaren team, XRL Stumpy and Carlos Jackson will be representing the supercar manufacturer. And for the Renault factory team, it's XRL Herbie and Tino Farah. Tino Farah is one of two drivers who will be serving a qualifying ban going into today's event. In the Scuderia AlphaTauri Honda team, it's Fratters and Fritz. And then with Racing Point, you have Retroixy and Find Waldo. Alfa Romeo has been XRL Cargo and Atui. These two drivers have been some of the most impressive all season long. For the Haas team, WCD Hubert is the only representative now. Again, we think his teammate might show up right before we get underway. He also is going to be serving a qualifying ban in today's event, which is going to suck for the man who makes a lot of magic happen in qualifying. And then for the Williams team, it's Schold and Constant Jet. Those are your drivers who are all going to be ready to go here. Oh, I'm guessing XRL Tom isn't racing. I'm guessing he's spectating today. That's interesting. And then we're still waiting on Boothie to officially confirm he's going to be jumping into the Haas by the looks of it. So Boothie jumping into the Haas for today's event. So gonna be going underway here sooner rather than later. Spa. So you, Azda, ran here yesterday in the Dev League. What do you have to say is the optimal ways to approach this track? And anyway, the first thing that comes to your mind, what is the most important things to approach this track with?
I think you have to be very, very calm with this track and also very, very patient as well. Because obviously when that DRS does open, you have the rich fuel mix and you also have the overtake ERS. And that's going to be a very, very, very powerful combination when going onto the Camel straight. So we could see a lot of overtakes there here. But you also, it's like Eau Rouge and Bajan Castle section, you got to not think about it and you'll be fine. We'll see most drivers here go flat out through Eau Rouge and Radion. But some drivers I know they can't because the instability of the setup of the car. So there's two strategies here you can do here today. It is a soft medium or medium soft. You do not really want to touch the hard side today unless you get lap 1 damage, which I hope we don't see of too much here.
Alright, well one second, going to check something real briefly. Here with the update the name of the event here. So once again, 19 drivers are lining up here, and a little bit gray skies today. A chance of rain could be very interesting here at Spa. So real quickly, some history on this famous circuit. The circuit's been around since the early 1920s. However, a lot of the more famous corners that you know of, such as Spa-Francorchamps, didn't come around until about 1939, just a few months before World War II broke out. The Eau Rouge Rodillion complex stayed the way it is from 1939 all the way until now, with the exception of 1994. So prior to 1939, as you can see right there on the mini-map that's on the sector, right underneath the number 1, that little bend between 1920 and 1938, that bend went much, much farther. It was a really, really extreme outward bend. It almost looked like a hairpin that was at 90-degree odds with the rest of the circuit. And then again, from 1939 until 1993, you have what you see now. In 1994, as a result of Ayrton Senna's death and Roland Ratzenberger's death at Imola, not to mention the accident that happened in 1993 to the eventual two-time IndyCar Series champion, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. But a lot of incidents had happened basically in the years leading up to the event. And in 1994, they went ahead and reinstated that really, really long runoff fair in the Eau Rouge Rodillion complex, much more of a hairpin. Then in 1995, it went back to what we see now. And the track has basically stayed the same that we see now since its inception, and its current inception, in about 1979. 79? Yeah, I believe 79. So there has been some alterations to the chicane. Used to be a bus stop there right before the start-finish line, but otherwise this track's not really gone through a whole lot of modifications. There are anticipated to be more modifications that this track will see in the next few months, because this track is going to be brought to FIA Grade 3 specifications for safety and standing. So that will more than likely include a significant number of runoffs being replaced with gravel traps once again, including up at the Eau Rouge Rodillion complex, not to mention some of the other corners throughout the circuit here. I'm having a bit of an issue. I can't hear anything. Audio settings. I'm not having any audio on.
I'm back.
I'm not having. Oh, there we are. There's audio. Okay, audio's back. Anyways, you see Tino Farah already coming back in. Tino Farah, along with WCD Hubert, are two drivers who are just getting out there so they can attempt to put down and lock in a strategy. Neither Hubert nor Tino Farah will be allowed to advance into Q2. With that in mind, we only see two drivers get knocked out in Q1. It could be anyone, though. This is one of our first drivers already on the circuit. This is Scholz. Scholz on his outlap. And here's Boothie. Boothie's on his. He will come across the line. He'll be one of the first drivers to come across the line. It'll be interesting to see if Boothie will be in a position to put down the first fastest lap time of the day and set the bar. You see him coming around the final two corners on the rundown. Small DRS straight on that start-finish line straight. Comes across the line to begin his first lap.
Yeah, he's got to keep his cool here on his first lap. You don't really want to invalidate here. Using first gear, which is quite interesting here. You don't really use it around here, but obviously with his driving style, it is working for him. Let's see if he does go flat out through this corner, through Eau Rouge Rodillion. He does. So some drivers will lift, and also depending on the race conditions as well, we could see people lift or people not lift. Quite tidy through the start of Sector 2 now. You gotta be very careful in Sector 2, as obviously there's a lot of high curbs, which can, if you do ride them a bit too much, unsettle the car, especially through that really, really fast corner. I don't really know any track corner names, unfortunately, but yeah, this corner now, you don't really want to even touch that curb, otherwise it will really unsettle the car and you could really DNF or damage your car. So yeah, with this track you got to really keep you cool and stay focused. Really, you can't really go out of focus, otherwise it's either in the wall or in a gravel track, which you don't really want. Alrighty, so Sector 3, it's a pretty easy sector to be fair. So it's basically a long straight with a bus stop. We could see maybe a few issues with the bus stop. Obviously the final two corners, as you know, there is a really high curb there, so we could see drivers go on that and maybe spin around, but as we see briefly come across the line here, what is it going to set? A 144.1, I think we'll maybe see 142s, but you'll definitely see some 143s here today, as we did see them in depth, so these guys should technically be a little bit quicker here, but we also know that some of these drivers are too quick for this tier, but that is going to be reevaluated at the end of the season.
Boothie is the driver at the top of the timesheets right now to 144.165. Also, credit to Whippy. Whippy, early on, putting on a very strong run. He's at 144.797. XRL Snake, 144.553. 145.435 is the slowest of the 4 times thus far. That is by Schold. And you said we were looking at what sort of times again?
Maybe like high 143s, or if you're really quick, maybe at 141. I can't speak. One at low 43s as well, but if you can really push it 42s, but I don't think we'll see that here today. We could maybe see it from Retro Rixie if he pulls out the bargain, maybe Cargo, as we know that they are very quick. I know that Smish, we might see him bin it at O'Rouge, as he has had a lot of trouble in practice, and he is getting quite agitated with it. But he hasn't gone in the wall yet, so.
Of one driver who has gone in the wall, though, is Constant Jet. There's some pretty significant damage on the right front wing. He is now bringing it into the pit lane, but some damage on that. Williams is going to delay the amount of time until he can set a flying lap. Books is really aggressive riding the curbs as they come out of the back straight here. I'm actually going to pull up the map of the circuit just so I'm not... Oh, and Smish! There it is! Yep. You were just talking about it.
Commentator's curse strikes again, eh?
Sadly, we weren't following him on the stream, and his car will probably despawn before it happened, but by the looks of it, it was a very traditional situation where the car went a little bit wide, going uphill, out of Al Rouge into Brazilian, and when he tried merging back onto the track, ended up getting upset by the curb, went into the inside wall, and totaled the car, more than likely. And Retro Rixie has gone around there in Sector 3, coming around that high-speed corner. He's damaged the front wing of the car. He was on a respectable lap, but that respectable lap is no more, I'd say. He's probably going to have to come in to repair that.
Yeah, he's got end plate damage, so he's got hot tires as well, so he's going to come in, refocus, and try and get another lap in. Obviously, Killer Jackson, he's going to come across the line soon. No, he's not. He's going to dive into the pits. So we've got Turbo, he's on his out lap. We've got Cargo coming around now. He's already run out of VRS even before he's got to the line, so that's going to hamper his time a little bit, but he comes past the line now. Does a 144.0. Very respectful time there. I don't think actually we'll get into the 143s, but we could see it in Q3 as maybe the drivers are saving the pace for Q3. We could see maybe a lot of drivers in Q2 going to the medium tyre compound, and we'll see a few drivers going to the soft, but I don't think we will.
Stumpy is jumped onto a 147.247, so about 1.8 seconds out from Schold. He really needs to find a way to improve those lap times. We have less than 10 minutes left, less than 8.5 minutes left in the session, actually, and we still only have 8 drivers who have set times thus far. Just little incidents have happened here and there that have kept drivers from the same time. Again, credit to Smish. Smish has already set a time, but his car is totaled. By default, he will not make it into Q2.
Yeah, so, yeah, obviously Huber, he's got a qualifying ban as well. The other Red Bull, XL Patriot, he's got a race ban, that's why he's not attending here today. Yeah, so we actually got a range of drivers here. We've got wheel controller, and the one thing that I'm going to say right now, I'm on a wheel, but it doesn't make you quick. I know a couple of drivers that are really slow on wheel, and I know a lot of drivers that are really quick on pad. So obviously, some tracks like this one, wheel does kind of help, but if you really dial in with the controller, you focus, you just forget about your even on controller, then we could see a good potential lap time with people with controller. But as I said before, it's not really a massive issue.
I'll say one thing that is going to be an issue going forward. XO Cargo continues to improve. He is now 0.7 seconds faster than Boothie right now on the timesheet. Cargo's really just trying to put the knee, every elbow, every knee, mouth, everything on top of everyone else. He wants to completely smother the field with his pure ability here right now. Absolutely dominating at the moment. Herbie's going to come across the line. He will sit down at a time of 145.365. And now he immediately pulls over, so that way XRL Turbo has a little bit cleaner track. Turbo invalidated his prior lap, went a little bit wide. in the downhill run in Sector 2.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of penalties handed out here today, I think. IOC, as you know, raced in Dev yesterday. If you haven't watched the commentators for that, I would suggest you can watch it. It was quite a juicy race, to be fair. And we see Williams, I think that is, it's Constant Jet. He's gone into the wall at Eau Rouge. So here we'll have to go back to the pits because that is major wing damage. But yeah, obviously I know what this track is like personally because I raced yesterday, so I can give you like driver specific info here today. Yeah, so you know you're gonna see a lot of penalties. I did keep it clean until the last lap, and I got a 3 second, and I missed out on the podium. But if you can keep it clean, then you're gonna more than likely jump a few places in the race.
Also on note, about the same time on Wednesday, there was the Formula 2 race, which is sort of a league that's being nurtured up to see if it can be run on its own. They're still in the pits, that's interesting.
Oh,
and in the...
Sorry, Turbo just went into the wall really hard. He's got hardly any wing left, so he's going to have to replace that.
And with only a little bit more than 5 minutes left in the session for both Constant Jet and XRL Turbo, the time is going to be running out very quickly between them to see if either of them can even make it in. Someone else just went off there, and that was, I believe that was Ottawi. No, that wasn't Ottawi, that was Cargo, our pole setter for the moment. Cargo actually briefly pulled off the circuit. He's back coming into the pits right now. Carlos Jackson and Retro Ixie still has to set their times yet, but Retro is coming down into the final chicane, and he should be able to set it right about now.
Fine Moldo's gone third, 144.2. So Fine Moldo seems to be quite pacey, and Retro Rixie goes second with 143.9. So we do see some drivers getting to the 43s, but not too many right now.
But it can definitely happen. 143.488 is the slowest time we've seen yet. 140, high 142s might be in the riding when we get into Q3 here, assuming we don't have rain. Again, ominous clouds overhead, really making things interesting. And Boothie! Boothie has wrecked out now! Boothie has totaled the car going up the hill! You can see it off the back of Ottawi. Boothie completely totaled the car, and Boothie, who had a time good enough for the top 5, is now knocked out of the session. So Boothie's not going to make it in, Snish is not going to make it in, Tino Farah is not going to make it in. We could be looking at a very, very small Q2 grid because we know Hubert is not making it in. Constant Jet has yet to set his time. He's still in the pits. Same with XRL Turbo. Fratters and Ottawi both still have to set their times. We could be looking at only like 12, 13 drivers going into qualifying too.
Yeah, it's going to be quite hard to get into Q2 now, as soon as we have 2 drivers with qualifying bans and also 2 drivers out. That's 4 drivers. So these guys have really...
Whippy!
Yeah, he's in the pits. He's confident with his
he's retired. Never mind. Okay. I got a little bit scared there.
So
no, Whippy and Fritz being a little bit careful, just retiring early to preserve their cars, not make a Boothie out of themselves now, I guess.
Yeah, Constant, he's out on the outlap now, so he's going to try and set a lap out. So is Fradders and so is Atway. He's coming round to the last few corners now. But it also seems to me like a couple of drivers are running out of ERS before the lap ends, which is going to be obviously hampering a lot of people's times. But you've also got that DRS, and Atway goes second for 1:33.9. 2-2, so he's quicker than Retro Rixie, but I think Retro Rixie may be saving his car for Q3. But I could be wrong, you never know. So yeah, Constant, Turbo, they're out now. Hubert can't obviously set a lap, and Fradders is out on the lap as well. So yeah, this could get very interesting very quickly.
Fratters now beginning his flying lap with 2 minutes left on the clock, and Constant Jet and Turbo both on the run down. Turbo's invalidated his lap, but again, it's warm-up lap, doesn't mean anything yet. But right now, we know for a fact, if all 15 drivers who are out on track don't wreck and actually set a time, all 15 of them will by default make it in. Because we only have 19 drivers, 2 of them, Boothie and Smish, have wrecked out, will now be able to advance to Q2, and then 2 of them, WCD Hubert and Tino Farah are serving qualifying bans. They are also not going to make it in. So if everyone can just honestly just pitter patter it around the track, be safe, be careful, and they automatically make it into Q2. So hopefully we don't see any heroics, and we can see a full 15-car grid going into qualifying session 2 as Constant Jet is now beginning his run.
Yeah, we also see Turbo, he's going to start his run soon as well. Let's hope that Constant, I'm going to round and board with it. It doesn't... I wonder if he goes flat for a Rouge. Let's have a look. He doesn't. He backs off a little bit, plays it safe, which is fair enough, but you are going to lose 3 temps with backing off. But I guess that's just personal preference and also setup as well. So yeah, we see Fradas, he's invalidated his lap, so I don't think he'll get a lap in. Stumpy, he's trying to improve, but he's invalidated as well. Wodo, he's happy with his time, so he's returned in the pits. How do you say that?
Schold is how I said it.
Yeah. Schold, he's out, but he's invalidated as well. Herbie, he's in the pits. Books is in the pit. Snake, he's in the pits as well. So these guys are kind of feeling pretty confident with their lap times here. And Frader, he's going to get across
has
the
one
line.
last chance.
Yeah, one last chance. I don't think Constant's going to make it, and Turbo isn't either, so they're not going to set a lap time here today, which is quite unfortunate.
No, Constant Jet is on a lap right now. Constant Jet is on a lap at the moment.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm stupid.
Same with Turbo. Jet and Turbo are both actually on laps.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they will come across the line. Yeah. So right now, as long as Fratters, Jet, and Turbo don't invalidate their laps and don't wreck the cars, they will make it into the next session. As the sun is now starting to peek through the clouds here.
Yeah, Fratters, he's pulled over. He's realised he's not going to improve. He's not even going to set a lap time actually. Constant, he goes 12 for 145.8. Let's see what Turbo's going to do here as he comes around that corner. You don't really want to touch the high curb there. Otherwise you will unbalance the car and you will get sent into the wall. As we see, yeah, he's run out of ERS. Common thing with these drivers here, because
Turbo's coming out of the final corner, and Turbo is now in.
13.
So now the question is Fratters. Again, if Fratters can just... if Fratters can just not damage the car and not invalidate the lap, this could be a 2.5-minute lap, and he will still make it in.
Yeah, we also got Stumpy on the lap as well. Near Fratters actually, and Huber's joined, I think he left. But yeah, so if Stumpy can just not invalidate, goes a bit wide there, but saves it. And let's see what Fratters does through this nice little complex. You don't really want to run too wide through that corner, otherwise you will hit the wall, and you don't really want that, do you? You don't want 3 wheels on a Formula 1 car, because they're meant to have 4.
I know Michael Schumacher drove 3 wheels here back in '98 in the pouring rain, so it can be done if you have a super mount. Yeah, so Stumpy, very, very good ability. Seems like both of the McLarens actually have some pretty respectable runs. And here we are, Fratters going to come across the line. It's going to be a slow lap, 2:04, but guess what? It doesn't matter. He's more likely going to be in, because again, Tino Farah, Hubert serving qualifying bans, they're not allowed to set times, and Boothie and Smish both wrecked their cars. So, I believe Fratters is going to make it. I think he's going to make it in at least.
Yeah,
am I understanding that right? Or
I think so.
Or are they not going to make it in because Turbo and Fratters didn't beat Boothie and Smish's time?
I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, now I'm a little bit confused with how it's set up. I don't know. Turbo's still out there, and he is going to be the last person to set a lap time.
He's just run out of fuel, very unfortunate there, so he's going to dive into the pits. Can't hit the pit wall. Yeah, so I don't think we've got anyone else back on track yet, so we should be getting into Q2 in just a sec.
This will definitely be a very interesting thing. I believe we should have 15 drivers going into Q2, so I believe. But yeah, you were saying...
we have 13. We have 13 drivers. Tino Farah, Hubert, Fratters, Turbo, Smish, and Bouvier are out.
So despite the fact that Turbo and Fratters were able to turn in laps at the end, because their laps were not better than Boothie and Smish, but that doesn't make sense, though, because Constant Jet and Schold and Herbie and Whippy all have lap times that are worse than what Boothie and Smish had set. But they're in. but yet
I think I know. I think I know what
Fratters aren't.
happened, right? So, Tino Farah and Hubert didn't set a time. So then it moves
Yes.
on to the next 5 people to eliminate. Because it
I don't think
eliminates.
that's the case because we've seen races before where we started with only like 17 people and only 2 people get knocked out. So I don't think that's it. I'm not really sure what's going on in quali, but it's gonna be a very, very lean field going into qualifying session 2 here.
Yep. So we'll see probably most drivers go on mediums, but it's not always guaranteed that everyone will go on mediums because someone will try to, alternate strategy, and it seems like no one has gone on the mediums just yet. Oh no, that's best. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, we have Shold, Constant Jet, and Herbie. They're on mediums right now, but everyone else is on softs. So Snake, he's out on softs. He's coming out onto the track now, and he is running 70 for a family friend who has unfortunately passed away to aggressive cancer. So he's running that number this weekend, and he ran it in Dev yesterday as well. So yeah, he's also running a pink helmet in memory as well. So yeah, we have Herbie out on the mediums, and we have Retro Rixie out on the soft. We have Shold out, however you say it, on the mediums. So yeah, Snake is going to be the first person to set a lap time here if he doesn't validate his hot lap.
13 drivers going into the session. Like you said earlier, medium soft or soft medium is the ideal strategy here. Because this track isn't nearly, this track is a lot closer to Monza or Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve Montreal in the fact that it's much more focused on straight line speed and ability. There are technical corners around here. Obviously the Al Rouge-Verdillion complex. You have the no-name corner, which is pretty technical in some ways. You have your final chicane right before start-finish line. Like, there are technical corners. But the wear on the tires that it takes is not very high. This is not like your traditional Tilkdrome. So, yeah, you can push a lot longer on the tires here than you would in other scenarios. When I was broadcasting the Formula 2 race for XRL on Wednesday, that was the big thing we noticed. Drivers in the sprint race were able to stay on the softs for the entire time without any significant downfall in pace.
Yeah, so I think the softs here can do about 13 laps. The race is 22. So you do 13 laps and then just jump on the mediums to the end, or you do it the other way around. I personally did the medium to soft yesterday, and I was a little bit quicker than everyone, but I was really, that was probably one of my best races coming back into the league, because if you didn't know, I have really bad connection issues, but I'm wired now, so I should be all good. And also I should be all good on the stream as well. So yeah, I was quicker than some people because obviously I started on the slower tire compound, but I actually felt really quick on it. Obviously people have different driving styles, people are going to be always different. But when I jumped on the softs, everyone was on mediums, so I was a bit quicker. We also had safety cars as well. So yeah, we also could see a few safety cars here today. Because obviously lap 1 everyone's close together, turn 1 isn't too wide, and also Rouge-Verdillion is a bit of a nightmare in dirty air, so we'll see what happens on lap 1 and hopefully not too many major DNFs here.
I know you were participating in the F2 race on Wednesday. In the sprint race, what happened there on lap 1 going uphill that took you and 2 other drivers out?
So what happened was XRL Patriot went wide, and he tried to rejoin, and there was a little bit of a hit between him and Kenzie Retro, and that because he has ABS off, anti-lock braking system, so he couldn't stop the car, so he hit the wall, and then for some reason it veered him into the track, and that made Dedgar go into him, T-boning him. And obviously I was behind Snake, I think. I was trying to overtake Snake, and yeah, I went into the back of Patriot, DNF my car straight away. But you know, it's a bit of fun. I'm not a full-time there, so I'm not really too bothered. As I do have Forza League that I do to commentate for on Wednesdays. So yeah, it was just a bit of fun, a bit of a mess around, and yeah. So yeah, I wasn't too bothered about that. Retro Rixie 1:43.8 seems to be pretty good pace, but we could see Cargo do a good lap on the mediums there.
Ottaway's coming around through the final corners right now on the softs. Ottaway set some of the best times in Q1. Here it is, 1:44.121 on the softs. For the moment, the gap between the softs and the mediums seems to be about a 1.5 seconds in pace. For now.
Yeah, for now. Obviously, Sheldon and Herbie aren't the quickest drivers. I'm not going to say the slow, but I ain't going to say the quick either. So yeah, we could see maybe Cargo do a 1:44, something like that on the mediums. But that's actually he's gone off, I think.
Ottaway just pulled off. Ottaway pulled off so
okay.
that way there'd be clean track for the McLarens coming up behind him.
Alright, sorry, because it was near radius, I thought you binned it. It's a bit of an instinct. But yeah, the time gap is pretty big, but if you can make the strategy work in the race, then it's going to pay off really well for you.
Snake gets up there, 1:44.175. So all three of our soft tire qualifiers thus far are very, very close together. All of our medium tire qualifiers, a little bit larger of a gap between them at the moment.
Yeah, so Insane, if you do want to ask me any questions about driving like this track, then please feel free to ask.
Oh yeah, and I'll probably pick your brain throughout the race itself also, so.
Yeah, that's all good. Go on. Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to keep a little bit of an eye. I made a promise before broadcast start that the normal silent commentary onboard lap, as Cargo has invalidated his lap, the silent commentary onboard lap that I normally do in Q1 was going to be onboard with Whippy. Missed it in Q1 completely, so I'm going to try and do it in Q2 to hold up my end of that promise. As Whippy, he's unvalidated his lap, but he is just on an out lap right now. It shouldn't matter too much. We'll be riding on board with him for the next lap, so you can get an idea of what it's like to be on board here. Whippy's starting to have some really, really good fortune in qualifying for the races. Not always able to turn it into good results in the race, but his fortunes have definitely begun to pick up here. We're going to jump on board with him and just be quiet for a lap, so you can really get an idea of what it's like running here at the famous Spa de Francorchamps. Apologize for the engine issue noises. That's not the car itself, that's just the game not properly rendering the engine and what the engine is doing here. But anyways, Whippy has now set a time on the softs, 1:45.040. Right now, that's good enough for 7th, but again, Books, Fritz, and Cargo all have yet to set their lap time, so that can change pretty significantly. So I'm just going to ask real quickly, Azda, the very first corner, you got a really, really tight hairpin in terms of the racing line is tight, but you got a lot of runoff. what's the ideal way to enter and navigate the Turn 1 hairpin? My background is not in Formula 1 2020. My background is in Forza, and I'll run Indy cars here, GT cars, NASCARs, all that stuff. Not really F1 cars. So for an F1 car, which is a really, really long, almost land yacht kind of vehicle, kind of narrow from side to side, but very long front to back, how do you navigate Turn 1 quickly and efficiently?
Quickly and efficiently, so you brake at the 100-meter board. I use third personally, but a lot of times we use second to get that extra rotation into the first corner. You can actually, you know, the curb. You can actually abuse that a bit, but you got to be careful on exit with the rear tires spinning. So you use that curb quite well, and then you try to get a smooth exit and prepare yourself for Oru Radion.
Alright, so is there like, a little bit of technical idiot here in some ways, but what do you guys have the differential for the rear axle set to? So that way, because obviously you don't want the cars just one wheel peeling everywhere, but because of the way that Spa is, for the most part, all a lot of very high speed or medium speed corners, then you have that one hairpin, how do you set up the differential in the rear axle of the cars to prepare for that?
Well, I personally have my differential set at 60%, but other drivers can have it maybe at like 70 or maybe even 50. And the rear axle is just, I don't think you can really change the rear axle in this game actually. Yeah, just with your setup, tyre pressures should be minimal, like no really that much air in them. Because obviously you want to preserve the tyres as much as possible, but also get that grip that you need as well. So low tyre pressures will do that for you, as Bucks improves on his time and goes 7th for 1:44.4. But yeah, personally, I run a quite rear wing is higher than the front, just so that you know, you can get that stability through the high speed corners, but also the low speed as well. So yeah, and also the lower front wing will allow you to do top speed as well. So you know, you gotta really think about your setup coming into this race here, and you also don't want to be scraping that floor of the F1 car too much as well. But you want the ride height a little bit low, so you can get that extra speed, because you know the camel straight and the pitch straight, that's where you're going to see the really high speeds, excessive of 200 miles per hour. So yeah, you got to have the setup to be stable, but also good at top end speed and acceleration.
Just about 2 minutes and a quarter left in the session. Cargo has yet to set his time in the Alfa Romeo. His teammate oddly set a time quite a bit earlier, and Whippy has gone ahead and retired from the session. He is locked in 5th on the timesheets right now, although that obviously could change. Here's something interesting. We don't see this happen very often. Everyone has abandoned the medium compounds. All 13 of our drivers are running on softs right now. As Cargo goes to the top, 143.582.
Yeah, so obviously people of obviously set time zone, so the lower end of set time zone, the mediums, and thought, oh no, I'm not going to get through to Q2. So they've also gone on the softs, and Cargo goes, excuse me, first with 143.5. Right, who is on a lap? Snake, he's on a lap now on the softs, 1 lap old. So should be still in the prime. Let's see what you can do. Maybe you can move up to maybe even B4, maybe even pre-3. Fritz, he, I was in a fight with him before the race, talking, just having a little bit of banter, chilling out before the race, and he has done hardly any practice. So it's quite amazing to see that he has gone into 3rd. Hopefully he can stick that in 3rd for Q3. So yeah, obviously yesterday, if you didn't know, I started P11 because you know, I missed out on Q2 because my Xbox decided to turn itself off. great, Microsoft. Anyway, so yeah, I started P11 with a lap 1 incident. I dropped down back to 20th, and I climbed that back up to P4.
I'm gonna have to interrupt you real quickly
yeah, no worries.
here. I've got some potential bad news. I'm not 100% sure that Schold is gonna make it to the start-finish line before the time's up. It's gonna be really close, and if he doesn't make it, he's gonna make it. Let's see here.
Yeah, he's gonna
5,
make it.
4, 3, 2. At the last minute, he's gonna make it. But right now, the two Williams are not in a position to advance. Constant Jet's only about 2/10 up, and he needs to improve by about 6/10 if he wants a chance to make it in. Same thing with Schold and Herbie, who has invalidated. Herbie has invalidated his lap, so Herbie's not going to make it in. So we may see no Renaults and possibly no Williams going into Q3 here.
Yeah, that's going to be a bummer for both teams. Obviously, because the ultimate goal is to get into Q3, should I say. So obviously get that top 10 position. But yeah, as I was going on before, qualifying isn't really an issue if you can sort out your strategy. And with this track, you have to find a rhythm. You have to. And Constant Jet has left. He's also had connection issues, and he's been
that
put
must
back
be a
to the
connection
pits.
issue. And that means that it's just Schold now. Schold is the last driver in the Williams to have not set him, to have yet to... Yeah, he's the only driver out on track yet who still has time. Well, no, it says Snake is still on track, actually. Snake also might be in a position to improve.
Okay, so Schold, he is 9/10 up. So we could see him get into Q3 here. Coming across to the last sector, storming through it, doing 195 miles an hour through that little bend there. Coming into the bus stop chicane, goes into second, goes into first. Very interesting there. Short shift to second, invalidates
he invalidates it!
Corner.
He invalidated it at the last minute! So he's not going to make it in, and he was up by only half a second at the end. He lost a lot of time in this game, but also something else I noticed about his car, there must be a lot of rear downforce and rear drag on that thing, because yeah, he was 195 through the bend there in Sector 3, but he only really got up to about like 196 or so afterwards, so that car seems to have a lot of acceleration, potentially too much acceleration, considering how the rear end of the car rotated him out of bounds, and he doesn't seem to have a whole lot of straight line ability. Here he is, he's only got about 198 on the straight. I know, it's easy to say only 198, but we easily should be seeing a car by himself running about 200 here. So it looks like the setup on the Williams, for Schold at least, is not going well, and we are not going to see either of our Williams or any Renault go into Q3. So our, wow, nutty.
Well, I just want to point out that Stumpy, he's getting into Q3. He hasn't had a very good time recently. He hasn't had a good time last season. He's been picking it up this season. Obviously, I did miss a lot of this season. So, you know, I don't know how any of these drivers have improved or haven't. Some new faces as well here. But Stumpy is in Q3. Well done, Stumpy, if you're watching the stream back or watching it live here. And also Fritz, he is in Q3 as well. Amazing drive from him. Let's hope that these drivers can pull it out in the race, because that's what counts.
Also, credit to Find Waldo. He is the only driver to make it into Q3 right on the medium tire compounds. He is 9th of the 10 right now. So if Waldo can get a really, really good qualifying position here, he may be in a position to win the race by virtue of having such a radically different strategy compared to everyone else.
Yeah, obviously, Find Waldo is going to be quite significantly slower in the opening stages of the race, but coming to the pit window for the soft runners is going to take very good advantage of that medium tyre, and ultimately may turn it into top 5 if you can, you know, have no one-lap incidents, lap 1 incident, should I say, sorry. Yeah, it's all about not getting penalties, being clean, and Constant Jet's back in now. But yeah, being clean, having no penalties, and trying not to get damages and make keys for success.
Paris Jackson and Retro XC are the first drivers out, but already about half, actually more than half, of our Q3 qualifiers are already on the track getting warmed up. So no one wants to waste any time right now. We have about 10.5 minutes left in the session at the moment, so a little bit of time, but yeah, Q3 much shorter. A lot cleaner track though also compared to normal.
Yeah, it also looks like the sun is trying to come out, and obviously those cars are blocking it. But obviously you've got track development as well, so the track should be a little bit warmer now. So these guys could get the power down earlier than what they did in Q1 because it was a bit grey. The track could have been colder with the clouds blocking the sun. So definitely in the end of Q. No, I mean end of sector 2 into sector 3 is sun shining. So we could see potentially faster lap times here with the hotter track and hotter tires.
Everyone is now already out into the circuit. Retro has invalidated his lap, but against an outlap doesn't matter too much. Carlos Jackson is the one we're going to really want to pay attention to. He's going to come across the line. Assuming he doesn't invalidate, he will be the first driver to set a time in the session. The McLarens have been looking relatively strong throughout qualifying today, so we could be seeing a three-way manufacturer battle between the McLarens, the Alfa Romeos, and the Racing Point Force Indians. So all 6 of those drivers have been looking very, very strong throughout the session.
Yeah, I think Snake, he is obviously one of the quicker drivers. He won the Constructors last season with XRL General, who is now on X2. Unfortunately, Snake cannot move up to X2 right now. I don't know the details of that, but now Snake, his speciality is race. He can do very, very good in quali, but he comes out like a lion in the race. So we could see maybe a few positions from him today. And yeah, so Carlos Jackson. That is Karen Mulder. I think he's like yeah, he is. Wants a clean track. But oh no, he's invalidated, that's why, sorry. But yeah, Carlos Jackson, he is Romanian. I think he's the only Romanian in X3. So he's got to do his country proud. He's got his own tier as well. I think it's XRL Romania, I think that's what it's called. So I forgot that wrong. But yeah, Carlos Jackson coming around the last few bends now, and let's see what he can put in.
Retro see riding on board with him, and you can see Carlos Jackson just ahead, so these two will set their times at about the same point on the track, and they will be the benchmarks for everyone to try and run down here in Q3. Jackson 144.697, Retro 143.894, so Retro really pulling off all the starts here. Whippy right to second, 144.238.
Wow.
Whippy really making things happen in qualifying. It looks like he knows that Hubert is not able to qualify, so Whippy's going to try and be the magic man in qualifying today. Snake also!
Right,
oh,
yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of time on the track now.
You remember what I said in Q1? These guys are waiting for Q3 to bring it out, and I was right. I'm usually wrong, but I currently am right. Wow.
Cargo will be the next driver Cargo will be the next driver to come across the line to set a time right now. As he's going to turn 3 right, sector 3 right now. He rounds that high-speed bend, and there he is. He's already at 200 miles an hour before he starts braking, going into the chicane. That's a little bit more like what you would want to see here. Here he is. Cargo comes out of that final corner, and that Alfa Romeo, third, 143.785.
He could probably, he's probably kicking himself because he knows he can improve on that time. But I'm in here, XRL Snake for 143.5. I mean, that time is just like, I don't even know.
I want to give props to Fritz. Fritz is the only guy in the AlphaTauri here. Everything's basically on his own. His teammate didn't make it into Q2, let alone Q3, obviously. He's doing all of this from what little bit he can understand from himself and the car, so second on the timesheets right now is absolutely impressive. Carlos Jackson's going to improve a bit, 144.073, as Retro has jumped into the pits, but this could get really interesting in the last about 4 minutes here, because I imagine the McLarens and the Racing Points are both going to see all this extra time left on the table, and they're going to want to do something about it. Audrey has invalidated another lap by the looks of it. And Fine Waldo will be the next person to set a lap time right now, as he's rounding the bend in Sector 3. Not as much speed in that car as Cargo had. Maybe he's gone for a little bit more of a stable setup.
What does he do?
144.316.
So bottom of the timesheets now. But Buxy's on an outlap as well, so we could see maybe Mercedes being dominant like in real F1. Yeah, so
Cargo's improved. Yeah, Cargo now goes to the top. Books is the next Mercedes on the track right now. His teammate Snake is still in the pit lane at the moment. The drivers are beginning to file back out to try and improve with a little bit less than 5 minutes left in the session. This has been one of the most interesting qualifying sessions I think we've seen in a long time. Granted, a lot of it came from chaos in Q1, but we're seeing a lot of drivers up in Q3 that either we don't see or when we do see, they aren't really competitive, and everyone's within a second of each other right now on the timesheets. So very, very competitive Q3 at the moment, as Books is now coming out of the final corner and he will begin a flying lap.
Yeah, I think Snake, he wants that pole position. He's going to try and improve as he's on his outlap now. But, you know, I do say this to a lot of drivers, I wouldn't push too hard if you're safe or if you're happy with what you've got, because if you're too greedy, he'll snap back at you. But Snake, if he wants to go for it, he can go for it. I think we may see Retro T's on his outlap, so he's going to try and improve that time. As we do know, he has been pretty dominant from the last couple of races. He's pulled pace out of the bag, and Bucky's got purple set to run, so we could see maybe Bucks going maybe to the top 3 here. But yeah, actually he's on his outlap now. He's going to want to set a lap here, and we have Fine Waldo. He's in the pits. Whippy, he's obviously in the pits. Phil Jackson's in the pits, and Fritz, he's on the outlap. I would not chance it, but you know, it's these driver decisions, and I guess it's what they want to do.
Retro coming across the line to begin his next flying lap. 3 minutes, 10 seconds left, so about 2 laps at best for most of the drivers on track right now. As Retro's now taking that high-speed downhill run into Al Rouge and then up through Radillion, or Radion.
Wow, 195 miles an hour through there.
And he's already up to 202 on the straight, 203, 204, 205. 205.
Into the braking zone. It's kind of scary how fast these cars have got, you know, but yeah, it is what it is. They have safety, so, you know, if you have safety,
I myself
can't
wait until they get gravel runoffs back around here. For a long time, so this is just my personal opinion, and I know it's kind of a really, really harsh thing to say, and hopefully they don't fire me for saying this. I do think that a lot of elements for FIA Grade 1 certification, because tracks need to have FIA Grade 1 certification to host F1 races. I think a lot of it is bunk, at least in regards to safety. As much as I love the Al Rouge Radillion complex, in no serious racing series would that be considered a reasonable corner. You have high speed, really, really fast uphill corners that not only is it blind if it was flat, but it's also blind because you're looking up in the sky for about half of it. So it's such an intensely dangerous corner. I honestly cannot wait until they get some gravel traps back to slow down the cars, because we've seen a lot of situations in both fictional racing and real life racing where drivers run a little bit wide in Al Rouge at the bottom of the hill or Radillion coming up to the top of the hill.
133.1, sorry. Wow, where's he pulled that
No, good
out
job
of?
catching that.
Yeah,
Good job catching that. I wasn't paying attention, but yeah.
Wow.
He has time. He has time. If he has the fuel, he might be able to improve on it again.
Snake, he's only just improved a little bit. Hopefully he can pull it out of the bag into going into the bookstop chicane here. Can he go into second? He wants it badly, I know he does, because he's racing with the number 70 and the pink helmet. Is he going to do it? Coming across the line now, he isn't, unfortunately not. Very, very close.
143.484.
But not
Ottawa
close
has
enough.
finally set a time, 144.392. The spread between 1st and 10th is still only about 1.2 seconds, though. So, like I was saying, very competitive. There's a lot of stuff. Fritz has invalidated his lap, so if I was him, I would go ahead and pull it into the pits. Not push any harder, but he is a racer, though. If he thinks he has it, he might go for it.
He's gonna.
I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Is he gonna go for another lap? He is. He's gonna go for another lap. He's gonna try and improve. He wants to get that podium position on the grid. Obviously, every driver wants that. Yeah, so we could see maybe a few switcheroos here. As basically everyone is out on track except from Bucks.
Cargo, he's trying to improve. He's got 143.420 right now.
He's up 3 tenths going into Eau Rouge Radion. He hasn't invalidated through there, so we could see maybe another switcheroo between Cargo and Retro. See, these guys are absolutely got amazing.
Karis Jackson's retired from the session. He can't improve from 144.073.
But he's retired?
Yeah, he's jumped into the pits, so that's basically it for him. Ottawa's now coming through the final chicane right now, trying to see if he can improve in the last moments.
Yeah, hopefully he can maybe go into the top 8 and goes across the line. He goes
143.565.
Does that time him from there. Cargo coming into sector 2 now, coming through that high speed corner, very tricky to get right. And I know that some drivers tried to take it flat out, which is amazing because I can't do that.
Stumpy was not able to improve.
Yeah,
Whippy improves. Whippy goes up to 7th, 143.981.
Okay.
Here comes Waldo. He's retired. He's pulling out. What about Fritz?
So Cargo, he's 1/10 up. Hopefully he can make more going into the push-up chicane, but obviously we're going to focus on Fritz now because he's going to be. He's down 2 seconds. Yeah, he's not going to improve.
He's retiring. He's out of fuel. Yeah. So now it's Cargo.
Or last and Cargo here.
Last driver.
Got great traction on that corner. Doesn't
improvement, but not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
143.209. So Retro is going to have another race where he starts up on the front row. But it's going to be very interesting because he's got Mercedes and Alfa Romeo teams all right there. And the McLaren team, they did relatively solid in Q1, Q2, in the first half of Q3, but as the times went lower and lower, they were not able to keep up. Stumpy and Jackson fall to 8th and 9th on the timesheets. Also, huge credit to both Whippy and Fritz, both of them point off outstanding runs. Fritz with a 143.736, Whippy with a 143.981. On pace alone, both of those drivers made it into Q2. Yes, they avoid chaos, but with a little bit of intelligent thinking, they were able to avoid the chaos and pull off a very, very good start for today's race. So this could be a very, very interesting race. We're seeing a lot of names that are really good racers starting mid-pack or in the back of the field, and a lot of drivers we normally see starting in the back closer to the front. And again, of note is that Find Waldo, who is going to be starting 10th, he is going to be the exception rather than the rule. He is of the top 10 drivers. He will be starting on medium tire compounds, while everyone else is going to be starting on the softs.
Yeah, that's going to play a big part in today's race. Hopefully you can pull the strategy off here. Yeah, so we're going to have a 5-minute break now, I think. Is that right? Or yeah,
I think so. It's normally about 5 to 7 minute break, so yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go and get a drink and open my window because I'm boiling. So I'll be right back.
Alright, well, qualifying has now wrapped up here at Spa-Francorchamps and Belgium. So now we are going to start getting ready to go underway for the race itself. We could be looking at a very interesting race, to say the least. I am absolutely excited to see what's going to happen here. Oh, this will be interesting.
Oh!
Rain. It's good. It's raining.
It's raining. No wonder.
And they're going to be starting on cold tires in the rain. Oh, wow.
Everyone went on sauce because it was raining. And my phone's dead and I couldn't get a weather report.
Yeah, I didn't have my phone on me either for this, so I got a notification like right at the start of qualifying, but I didn't get anything. So yeah, this surprises me also. So this could get very interesting.
Very interesting. Watch out for Orange.
Just two historical moments, one kind of sad and one a lot more stunning. 1939, the very first race at Spa-Francorchamps with the traditional Al Rouge Rodillion setup. This is, again, pre-World War II. Driver named Dick Seaman. He was a very interesting man of the 1930s, a Britishman who ran in what was basically European Grand Prix at the time, which later became Formula One. He was driving for Nazi Germany teams, one of the few bridges that Britain still had with Germany before the war. And he was known as a master of the wet, came here at the track at Spa and was leading by a massive amount, but in the pouring rain, those cars, no downforce, very, very small, almost bicycle-sized tires. He ended up losing it at about the 13-kilometer mark, ended up wrapping his car around a tree. It tragically killed him and severed one of the few bonds that were left between Churchill's Britain and Hitler's Germany prior to World War II. So an interesting moment there, kind of a sad thing in that case. A lot more recently, though, and this is something I'm sure everyone is known of and everyone is aware, in 1998 at Spa-Francorchamps, it was raining everywhere. In fact, there was so much rain on the start that as they rounded the hairpin and started to run down to Al Rouge Rodillion, one of the cars got knocked off circuit, bounced across the track, and completely blocked the circuit between the spray and the debris flying everywhere. Over half the field was involved in some way or another, and they eventually did get under green, but with a lot fewer drivers. I believe, if memory serves correctly, Michael Schumacher had to go to a backup car. Michael Schumacher avoided it, but Eddie Irvine, who was his teammate, got knocked out. They were afraid that Schumacher would get involved in the accident on another restart. They did not let Eddie Irvine get into the second car, and that led indirectly to Michael Schumacher in the race itself once it actually started happening, running over one of the Jordans and losing a tire in the event because he didn't have a team. Part of the reason was he didn't have a teammate out there to try and help him navigate the field. So rain at Spa has always been a very, 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 very difficult and treacherous scenario here. A lot of chaos is more than likely going to unfold here. Also, this is the first race, I think, in a long time, I think since China, that I've been able to watch with X3 with it started in the wet. So yeah, this will be very interesting to say the least. Oh boy.
Alrighty, I am back, and it seems to be like it's going to be a wet start, but it's going to dry out towards the end of the race. So we could see an interesting race here today.
Mm-hmm. I know this much. There's obviously going to be some focus on the drivers at the very front, but I'm going to immediately want to jump onto and follow the drivers in the back, so that way if anything happens, we can try and catch it on the stream here.
Yeah, I'll go to the front and you go to the back, if that's alright.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me.
Alrighty. So, should be going pretty soon actually. It feels like an eternity. But that's because we're in the comms box, so everything feels like forever. Well, that's what I feel like anyway.
This is gonna be nuts. I wish you had alternate angles that you could look at the cars from in the moments up until the race, because like right now I can only see 3 and 4 cars on the grid right now.
It's just because we're looking at the pits because nothing's happening, but we're going underway now. 17, 15 seconds until we get underway here at Spa. X3. It's going to be a hectic race. We're going to have some crashes because some people find it really difficult in the rain with no traction. Let's hope it's not too big of a crash here. And as we yeah, we should be getting away pretty soon. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're away here.
Yep, lights out and away we go. And Carlos Jackson immediately gets a penalty for jump starting.
Everyone's very, very careful into the first corner here. No one really wants to get wing damage here in the wet. 3 wide, some people. Snake, he's already got to 3rd position now, and he's actually dropped back quite far. But Cargo and Retro Richie still out in front. Snake, wheel to wheel with Retro Richie here.
Way off the track there. Yeah, that's Boothie. Boothie's gone around in the uphill section, but it looks like it's Hubert. Both of the Haas drivers have had incidents here at the start. Hubert and Boothie both involved in incidents at the start of the race here. Smish has dropped all the way to 17th position at the start. It's pouring.
Wet.
Stumpy has gone off track. It's so much rain, I can barely see on the onboards.
Yeah, there's a lot of spray kicking up here. The drivers are really struggling here. You don't really want to touch the curves in the wet. I haven't experienced the wet. I've only experienced intermediate wet, not full wet. So I don't know how the drivers feel right now. But it's a really good start from Cargo and Snake. They have just left Retro Richie. It seems to be Retro Richie doesn't really like the rain too much. And it looks like Cargo loves the rain here. He is from Canada, so he is used to driving on slippery surface such as ice and snow. So yeah, the fast driver is not a very good start here. And we're going to ride on board with some people here today to see if we can get some juicy overtakes on the opening laps. Oh, that's Herbie. He's gone wide near the pit stop, loses a lot of positions, and that's him down really far with his teammate Tino Farmer, who has been warned for lag issues, so we could maybe see him lag here today.
Oh, Herbie's making a move on Scholl, or at least it looked to make a move on Scholl.
Brooks is in the pits. He's obviously got wing damage. So is Curtis Jackson. So is Whippy. Whippy
has to pit as well for wing damage.
Here today.
Frater is now back up into the 9th position. Ooh, look at Herbie with that. Herbie made contact. Herbie made contact with Fine Moto. And Fine Moto's come back across the track. And there's debris all over coming out of turn number 1. Everyone's back on the way now. But there's a lot of debris from winglets and stuff. They're in the turn 1 section. And I'm really concerned for Fine Moto. He doesn't have a full front wing. Neither does Herbie. And someone else went off. And that was one of the windows. That was Tino Farah. Tino Farah's car has been destroyed.
That is a virtual safety car. They're going to have to get that Renault off track as soon as possible. But obviously these tricky conditions are proving to be very hard for the drivers here today. And obviously some of them are really not prepared for the wet. You know, it's Belgium. It's going to rain a little bit. If not, you're very lucky here. And that is going to really, really hamper Snake and Cargo as they were running away with it, with Retro Richie lagging behind. Now Retro Richie is right on the diffuser of Snake here, so we could see a switcheroo between 3rd and 2nd here, and this is a very, very wet race here today.
I honestly wonder sometimes how they waterproof those steering wheels. And Carlos Jackson now gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, so that's not going to go well for him, as we are now under green flag here.
So it actually, the predicted pit stop strategy says it's not even going to dry in time for them to get onto the intermediate or even slicks. These drivers are being very cautiously, and to be honest, if you're cautious in the rain, then it's gonna and Snake is in the pits. Has he got wing damage? He hasn't. He's changing tyres, I think.
Jumping on to intermediates now would be one hell of a decision. Jets coming into the pits as well.
He's got a drive-through, that's why.
Oh yeah, so he's serving the drive-through penalty now as soon as he can. Okay.
That's a very good decision. Very smart.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers coming in. Herbie's coming in. Karis Jackson's coming in. We're going to see a lot of jockeying around when it comes to positions early on, simply because drivers having repaired damage.
So Stumpy, he's on XRL Fritz here. Is he going to make the move into this corner? He's got overtake on. Is he going to make the move? Is he going to make it? 2-4.
He's making it. He's making it.
He's
He's making it. Can he make it stick?
He's going to make it stick. Yes, he is. Into 4th position, Stumpy goes.
So one of the McLarens, at least, definitely starting their very gradual charge back up to the field.
We also have a battle with 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th here.
There's also a 10th and 11th place battle as well between Turbo and Hubert.
Past Stumpy cut. Yeah, he's got wing damage. He's also hit the wall, and that is going to be very, very bad. As end plate damage in the wet is literally basically like having no wing. So, I'm just going to quickly go through the losers and the winners of the start of the race here. Fradders up 9 positions. What an amazing start from him. But Bucks, he's down 9 positions. So not a very good start from Bucks here, but let's hope he can claw it back to maybe get a good race result here today.
Hubert right underneath that rear diffuser of the Ferrari for XRL Turbo, trying to make something happen here. Hubert's trying to bounce back from a penalty that kept him from even running qualifying right now. Retro, fastest lap, 2 minutes flat, 2.2 minutes, 0.8 seconds. But he has a penalty right now.
Is he going to make it stick? Is he going to make it stick? Turbo, he's fighting back. The wheel to wheel a bit. That's a fucking crack, fuck. Oh, excuse me. But is he going to stay? Turbo, he could maybe go for the attack on the first gun, but he isn't. He's going to stick behind him, starting to 11th.
And that means that Turbo might be open to attack from the other Haas driver of Boothby right now. Still right on board with Boothby, the rain is so thick and the spray is so thick that when you get right behind someone else, it's really hard to even see, let alone make a move. The fact that Hubert was able to make a move on Turbo at such a high-speed part of the track like that, you have to give him huge props for being able to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that some of these drivers aren't locking up all over the place, spinning out everywhere. We haven't really, and we've only had one major crash here, and that was Tino Farah on the opening lap.
Yeah, on the second lap, Tino Farah got involved in an incident with several other drivers getting contact and knocking debris off their cars in the hairpin, and that just kind of continued all the way down. Waldo has gradually caught up to the back of Fradders now, as they're taking that nice long run down.
He nearly loses it. I'm sorry to interrupt there, but Breezy nearly loses it, so he's got to regain. And he's got pressure on Constant Jet now, who is running a little bit slower than Boovy, but now Boovy's going to have to try and gain that time back to Turbo. So Turbo's got a little bit of breathing space here. He can chill out, find the rhythm, and try and get try and defend that position. We also see Snake. He is 8/10 now to Stumpy because he moved here in the next battle.
Retro is serving his penalty and jump into the pits.
Okay, yeah, so he's left at the least possible time to do that, which could maybe affect him worse or affect him better. But Snake, he's really getting on Stumpy now. Snake, he is the master of the wet. He is like a Lewis Hamilton in the wet. I've got to give props to him for that. We could see Stumpy, maybe lose position to Snake in a minute. Now Stumpy, he's going to be right on the back of Retro Rixie here. He could make a move into 4th, and if he does, this will be his best position. And I think that is a Smith. He's gone off. Has he got a wing? He's lost the end plate. No, he's lost half of his wing. Sorry.
That's like nearly half the wing gone on that car.
Yeah,
so bad to worse here for Smith. Crashes coming uphill through the Al Rouge Brazilian complex. And now significant damage to the front wing. Really not going well for the Renaults or the Ferraris, neither of them having any cars in the points paying positions at the moment.
Okay, so it looks like Brooks is really putting pressure on Whippy here. We could see
Waldo is putting pressure on Fradders also.
Oh, is he? Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, but
really
here's the thing,
close.
Waldo has damage on the front wing, yet he still seems to be a little bit faster than Fratters at the moment. This could get really interesting, and Hubert is closing in on both of them.
Yeah, we could see a three-man battle here, and Turbo is lost position to Boovie, and now he's got to fight Constant Jet. Turbo doesn't seem to be having a lot of pace in the wet here today.
Hubert taking that magic he normally has in qualifying and trying to apply it to the race right now. From dead last, he's already up into the points paying positions, 10th. And if he can keep that up, this could end up being a very, very career-defining race for him, or at least year-defining race for him. I don't know about year-defining, maybe like a year highlight race, I guess.
Yeah, Snake, he is really on the back of something now. Obviously, why is Beard Boost joined?
The gap between first and second, though, has opened up to 11 seconds.
Wow, so Cargo, obviously, he is obviously really enjoys the wet. He's obviously maybe practiced for it as well. Snake, he is really looking to get at Stumpy here. So we could see a lot. We could see a... Oh, no, and Retro Rixie, he's on Fritz. No, he's lost a bit of time for O'Roos. They happen to drop a gear for O'Roos to hit that car stable, which you would never see in dry races. But obviously, this ain't dry, this is significantly wet.
Waldo and Fratters are really impressive to me, especially Waldo. Waldo does not have a full front wing on the car. He's still going full bore, though, through the Alvarez-Dillian complex. So Waldo, if you had a award for wrecking balls to the wall, I think Fine Waldo might get that just because he does not care about the damage on that car.
Well, he obviously is handling it really well. The setup's obviously helping him as well. But also, you know, it also helps when you have someone in front of you showing you the lines, and you can also apply that to your wing damage as well. So, he is losing a bit of time with that damage, but obviously not too much to hamper him to make him make a pit stop early on.
Constant Jet is now catching Turbo. This will be about for a 12th position. Herbie now has a time penalty for track violations, but he's already so far off the pace that at the moment, at least, it looks like that may not actually mean anything. Constant Jet runs really wide. He caught the aerodynamic wake of that Ferrari ahead of him, and it made him run really wide in that downhill section through Sector 2.
Yeah, so Snake, he has got past Stumpy now, but Stumpy is going to
side by side.
That is not going to go very well for one of the drivers here. Snake, he goes really wide.
And that's it! Stumpy gets turned! Snake comes right across the track into Stumpy in the high-speed corner, and there's no front wing. I'm honestly surprised that Stumpy's car didn't get completely destroyed in that. And that we might see penalties post-race from that.
Yeah, that was wow. Very bad incident now. So he's definitely going to have to pit now. He's got none whatsoever. Very bad for Stumpy. He was having a really good race, but he's just turned upside down right now.
Whippy is dumping into the pits again. I believe he has more front wing damage, so great qualifying, not turned into a great race results for that Red Bull driver. Hubert now has a time penalty, but ahead of him, Fratters and Fine Waldo still going at it. Waldo still damaged front wing. He's trying to make something happen to Fratters ahead of him. He does not care about the damage.
Yeah, I thought I forgot you. I thought he was going to go for the move, but he's just strategically putting it behind Fratters, just trying not to kill the tires too much, because obviously when you get worn wets, they're going to overheat more, but they're going to turn basically into slicks if you run them. And Whippy, he is on intermediates. Is that going to work for him?
Bold strategy, Pat. Let's see if that plays out.
Oh, and Stumpy is going to make a move onto Whippy. He's on the intermediates. He's obviously a bit slower, but Whippy is going to defend it off. And Whippy stays in 16th place.
Whippy needs to be really careful with those tires. We don't know exactly how dry the track actually is. I'm saying this riding on board. At least it's a little bit easier to see while I'm riding on board with Stumpy as he's trying to chase Whippy at the moment. So if Whippy made the right decision, he might be able to pick up a lot of positions that he lost from being involved in incidents early on in the event here.
Yeah, we also, as you said before, could see post-race penalties handed out to anyone or everyone. Excuse me, and again, excuse me. Books, concentrate, it's not loaded. This Books is going to take advantage of that. Going to go too wide. Is he going to? Yeah, Books gets through very nicely, and he doesn't do what his teammate did. And you know, I'm not really going to comment on that.
Snake has jumped into the pits. He's also jumping onto the intermediate tire compounds as well now.
Seem to be drying out a little bit now, but not for slicks. Obviously, it is still pouring pretty heavily now.
Waldo has jumped into the pits as well. They're repairing that front wing damage and putting intermediates on his car as well now.
Yeah, and also insane, you know where it says detail on the thing, you can actually see penalties if you go past tyre. You can see how many penalties people have got, which is
hello.
quite nice.
Oh, sweet. Alright. Yeah, a lot of drivers jumping onto the intermediate tires this lap. Oh, and Smish! Smish has totaled the car!
Oh, that is, and I think,
yeah, that's a virtual safety car once more. Smish totaled the car coming out. We were briefly on board with him, and then the game kicked us off of his onboard. But, yeah, so Smish, his race comes to an end. An entirely horrible day from start to finish for XRL Smish. He will not finish any better than 18th.
Yeah, I knew he was really struggling with this track. This is going to maybe play into Cargo's hands now. He's 15 seconds to second. He is having a storm. And Curtis Jackson's got a drive through.
Again!
Yeah.
This is the second time for him. Cargo's staying out another lap on the wets. His teammate Ottaway 13.5 seconds off of him. And then Retro is the highest car who's not in a Ferrari powered engine right now. He's third.
And Retro, he's
jumping in.
Yep.
Yep, as is Fritz.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people going to intermediates now. They're taking that gamble and hoping it works. So, yeah, we could see a lot of people now jump onto the intermediate tyres, but also for the people who jumped on them earlier, this is going to really, really help them. So people like
Ratter's
Snake,
gonna stay out.
Waldo, Whippy, and Constant. So Snake, he's going to move up to a massive position now, as he pitted way early. That strategy has worked absolutely blinders for him. He's going to go from 8th to 6th. I think it was 9th to 6th. So 3 positions in one pit straight. And that is Curtis Jackson. He's gone off. No, he hasn't. Sorry, that is.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was looking at Stumpy because I was right on board with him. So yeah, Curtis Jackson. He's got no wing now, or hardly any wing. So he's definitely gonna have to pit for another set of either intermediates or full wets, but I don't think he'll go on full wets.
This is absolutely played into the hands, though, of the Alfa Romeos. The gap between second and third, 20 seconds. The gap between first and second, 13. So they could both go ahead, and they could honestly double stack probably and not really worry too much about it. It's not going to take too long to swap tires. So if Cargo and Ottaway went ahead and came in now, they'd probably be able to stay out and maintain their positions.
Yeah, I think obviously these two drivers, I think I can't actually see the standings for X3, but they're probably Alfa Romeo. Oh,
Fratter has nearly turned himself going down the hill there. He got the car back under control, but that oversteer really kicked in. The rear really slid out on him, and it's sliding out again. There's not very much rear stability in Fratter's AlphaTauri right now.
Yeah, it's obviously those wets are getting pretty worn, and also maybe it's time for him to go on the intermediate tyre. As basically now everybody's on the intermediates, and this is really going to play in the hands of Snake because yeah. So as you said, the Alfa Romeo, are double stacking, and yeah, Fradders really needs to pit as he is significantly slower.
Careful, Snake. Fratter's gonna go off the circuit.
Oh, and he's got a 10-second time penalty.
10-second time penalty for corner cutting, but he had no real choice or ability to do anything. He was trying to make it into the pits, but the car's rear tires completely locked up on him going into the chicane. So he's gonna have to go another lap on these tires. This race going from bad to worse here for Fratters. He was 5th, and now he might not even be in the points main position when he finally does swap tires. He's the only car still on the wets.
Well, I just gotta say,
he's turning! He's spinning! Oh! He's spinning! He's wrecked the car!
He's not out, but he has got
significant
wing damage.
No, there's not too much wing damage, so the car is still in decent condition.
Yeah, he's got no wing damage.
Everything's still there.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
He's now fallen to 9th. We were right on board with him as it happened. Just the rear tires, no grip left in them.
Yeah, obviously those wets are suffering really, really badly now. As Boovie, he's on intermediate, he's going to be in the quick tyre now. I may have misjudged what I said in the first part of the race where I said it wouldn't dry up, because it obviously is. And I've got a really sore throat now. But yeah, Fratters does really need to get on those intermediates as quick as possible.
Fratters will be overtaken by Whippy here, so Fratters now falls out of the points paying positions, and he still has to make his pit stop and serve a 10-second time penalty, so Fratters' race not over, but definitely vanishing away from him fast. Schold has caught Hubert, not making a move on Hubert yet, though, as Hubert does have a time penalty that Schold does not have yet. So here's my question, if you know. What are we looking at when it comes to the longevity of the intermediate tires here? How many laps can they go?
I would say, because I did Q3 on them, so I can actually start the race on them or anything. But they could probably go about 10 to 11 laps, easy, 15 at a push probably. So if you do pit now, you will go to the end on those intermediate tires, I think. I'm not too sure, but I think you might.
Fratters has finally made his stop. So yeah, if they can make it to the end on the intermediates, that would make a lot of sense. Although for drivers like Constant Jet, for Whippy, who jumped onto the tires really early on into the pit cycle, it's going to be a little bit more iffy for them. But again, just considering how quickly the track dries out, jumping onto softs at the very end might be a reasonable option as well, so...
Yeah, well, obviously depends on track development here today. So yeah, you gotta really look out for obviously the transition period of the intermediate to slicks. If that ever, if that ever comes. And yeah, Fritz seems to be really struggling on intermediate tyres right now. I'm on board with him and he's really struggling. He's got really bad understeer, which, if you don't know what understeer is, the the front, sorry, doesn't want to turn, so you obviously overshoot the corner. And Cargo 156.3, a second quicker than Waldo's quickest lap time, which was before Cargo did that lap. But yeah, some of these drivers are really struggling with deconditions here, and some of them are obviously dominant than others, but we'll see how it plays out. The grid is fairly even. Waldo is right near Schold. I'm sorry if I said that wrong again. But yeah, apart from that, it's all really spread out, really. No really battles going on that much. Pit window is open now for the intermediates. If you are on the wets, which no one else is, and Smith's left, obviously because he's DNF, you wanted to maybe watch for a bit. And 10 laps to go now. Could we see Cargo pull out the win, or is Retro Racing going to pull about that 9 seconds and maybe get the win here today?
Retro is very slowly closing in that gap on Cargo, but not quite at the rate of a second a lap, so I'm not 100% sure if that's going to happen. Waldo is still on Schold, but Schold has dropped off the back of Hubert just a little bit, so we could see a potential battle forming for the 7th and 8th position. In fact, I think it's here. Waldo is right underneath the rear diffuser of Schold's Williams at the moment.
Yeah, obviously, when February... Oh, Constant...
Oh, and Constant Jet!
Rouge, safety car. Yep. No full safety cars just yet. Obviously, as it's only one car, so it's not really a hassle. And obviously, I think there's a marshal's post near there, so you can just obviously in real life you wheel the car away or get the crane. But what was I on about again? I totally forgot.
It'll come back to you. If it's important, it will absolutely come back to you.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Oh yeah, as I was saying, yeah, when I obviously did get a half a season ban for conduct, I'm not really going to go into that right now, but you potentially could see me in X3 maybe February time, because that's when I'm allowed to reserve for X3, and also move up to X3 if I do have the pace in dev, or it could be lifted sooner. And honestly, oh Snake, he's got a drive-through.
Snake.
That is going to
that's
really badly now.
He's serving the penalty right now, and that will really help Fritz, because although Fritz is struggling with the car, his next closest competitor is going to be Hubert, who's nearly 10 seconds off the back of him.
Wow, and I've just been...
And Hubert also has a penalty as well.
Oh,
so,
that's,
yeah,
I think Boothy's gone. He's spun it or something. Yeah, he's...
No, Boothy's just losing a position to Whippy here.
Oh, right,
Whippy's going to overtake him. Yeah, and now Books is right there on the back of Boothy as well. So potentially the intermediate tire is not working out very well for Boothy either. Books in the Mercedes is the next driver who will set his sights on Boothy in that Haas.
Oh yeah, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, these guys, you know, if you're in X3, it's like an honor to drive. Because obviously you've got really high tier guys in here, so you know I'm looking forward to bridging with these guys again. Yeah, well, I don't really want to talk about me, it's more about these guys here today. The focus battle right now is fine mode on the
Books! Books has just gone around Boothy on the outside, and Boothy's gonna come back. They're gonna make tire-to-tire contact. Boothy's gonna maintain the 10th position for the moment.
Yeah, and it looks like fine Mordo is still on show goes wide. Carlos gets a 3-second time penalty for track violations. And I'm going to quickly look at the penalties. So Huber has 3 seconds, Boover has 3 seconds, Turbo has 3 seconds, Stumpy has 6 seconds, Toby has 6 seconds, Fradders has 13 seconds. That's going to really hamper his race today.
So with Fradders, he has a 10-second time penalty when he ran wide going through the chicane, trying to get control of the car. The rear slid out and he just slid wide, missed the pit lane entrance altogether. So 10 of those 13 seconds, I wouldn't say were properly awarded. I would kind of hope those 10 get removed, but I don't have anything I can say about it. I'm just saying that is the reason why he's got so many seconds on when it comes to his penalty thus far.
Yeah, so if he does get that 10 seconds removed, then he will only have 3 seconds, which won't hamper him as much. But Curtis Jackson, he seems to be really struggling right now. He's 31 seconds behind Fradders, so I don't think it'll affect him Fradders too much. But Snake, he's in 8th now. He was
Boothy! No! Whippy! Boothy! And Books have all just made contact and crashed. They're all back underway real quickly here, but they all made contact going through the final corner. Whippy went a little bit wide, had trouble putting the power down. Boothy tried to make something happen. Books saw an open shot, went for it, and ended up hitting all of them. And now all of them are all on top of each other again as they're heading down. Boothy is still ahead of Books, but Books is charging on Boothy as they're going up through Al Rouge and Radion right now. Boothy has to let out, and Books comes right underneath Boothy's rear diffuser. Now the gap starts opening up just a little bit, but Whippy is not going to be happy with that. He was ahead of him by far, and then the two drivers just made dive bombs on him and ended up knocking him sideways and dropping him from 9th to 11th.
Yeah, but you also got to think about that. Whippy and Books do not have time penalties, so if they stay in 3 seconds of Boothy, they will get moved up a position. But also, obviously, we have 8 laps left now. There's obviously times for penalties to track violations, so these guys just got to keep it clean, and they should move up into points paying positions. But also, it's also good to get on track overtake as well.
A little bit farther up in the grid, though, Waldo continues to stalk Scholl. Waldo's right there. And here he is. He's making the move. They're making the move. We saw this earlier.
Oh, and
wow! The Williams is gonna stay ahead as Waldo wisely backs out at the last moment. But I think it's very much clear that Waldo has the ability, and Whippy now has a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, that is commentator's curse there. I still think it's a real thing. But Bucks, he drops back to 11th. So they had a little incident, maybe with Boothie, or maybe just the tyres going off, or maybe even just overheating issues here. As he is on 5 lap, he's on 4 lap old intermediates. But also
Boothie is making a stop.
Oh,
Boothie is making a pit stop. So yeah, so I'm curious if Boothie might decide to jump onto a different set of tires.
He may jump onto
Waldo on the outside of Schold on that back straightaway. He has got it. He has moved up into the 6th position now.
Well, that was Waldo just couldn't really hang on anymore. He had to make that moose.
Boothie, softs.
Softs.
He seems to think that he can run on the softs.
That is a
it's still raining.
It's still raining and there's a lot of spray. But he's now out of the point pay positions. He has to gamble. He's going to try and make it work. I'm going to ride aboard of him while you look at the closest battle to see how he does. And he is sliding everywhere. Yeah, he has made the wrong decision here. As Herbie, he goes on a fresh set of intermediates. That was a choice that Boothie should have made, but I think he may have actually selected the wrong tyres. It's definitely not ready for softs at all. Boothie is sliding everywhere. He's got a lot of oversteer and understeer, so yeah, it's definitely not time for softs just yet.
Most of the other battles on track have pretty much evaporated, with the exception of the one that's going on continuing for points paying position 9th and 10th. Whippy is ahead of Books, but Whippy has a time penalty. Books does not have one yet.
Yeah, not yet. So obviously, if Books does get a time penalty, then it will even out them both. So they will, if Books does get one, a 3-second that is, then they will have to fight it out for on track position. Excuse me.
He's making a move. Or at least he was looking to make a move.
Oh no,
he's making it. He's looking on the outside.
Yeah,
he's gonna try and make something happen here. He knows that Whippy is a little bit weak coming out of the hairpin. Not the hairpin, the chicane there. And now they run down the hairpin. Whippy's still ahead though. In fact, Whippy actually increased the gap between himself and Books just a little bit that time.
Yeah, so I think Whippy has got into a good routine. He needs to pull out 3 seconds on Books to stay in that 9th position, unless obviously Books does get a time penalty, which may happen, but I don't think it will. And it seems that it has stopped raining, so we could see a transition from softs here. So, but Boothie, it may have been the right decision.
It may have been the right decision, but just made at the wrong time, because he lost a lot of time that lap, and I don't think there's enough time left in the race for him to not only regain that. Yeah.
And Stumpy's left. Connection issues for Stumpy. And he was right on the back of Turbo. So that is going to be very, very bad for Stumpy here, as he's going to lose a lot of time with his AR.
Cargo is pitting. Cargo just got a penalty for speeding in pit lane. And he's pitting right now. I think he's jumping onto the sauce. But this may have just given the race to Retro. Retro Rixie may have the race, assuming that he has enough of a gap on
Otto. And wing change as well, so it could have been an indication that he did have a little moment there. And Otto is pitting as well. We could see him going to soft. And Fritz, he is going to maybe go into second. Is he going to get into second though? Is he comes around the last corner? I mean, the first corner, should I say, sorry. And Cargo comes out ahead. But
Herbie has caught Boothie, so the soft tires still are not the ideal compound, it seems, because Boothie is struggling hard to keep Herbie behind him, and Herbie has 6 intermediates.
Sorry, should I interrupt you there?
Why the mediums?
And
you could run the softs to the end of the event. I'm a little bit confused as to why you take mediums. I would myself, if you're going to change tires, I'd jump onto the softs like what Cargo's on. So Cargo's now 16.6 seconds behind Retro, with about 6 laps to go though. Will Retro stay out on the intermediates and try and make them work, or will he jump into the softs? If he jumps in and swaps to the softs though, there's a chance that he may lose significant ground. So
yeah, we also got Buxies on the soft tire compound now. And Turbo, he's in the pits as well. Is he going to jump onto the soft? The track is really dry now. It's still a bit slippy and greasy in some areas of the track, but it is really, really dry now. You could. Oh, we have I think that's Boothie. He's gone around.
Yeah, Boothie went right around in front of Careless Jackson. Yeah, he's burned off those softs, just trying to keep them under him for laps, and now the track is receptive to the soft tires, but his soft tires are already gone. It was a good strategy move, just made a lap too early.
He's gone out the way now, and Retro Rixie's pitting. He has gone to softs. And Boothie,
so this is the question: will Cargo catch them? Oof. So now the question is, will Cargo be able to overtake Retro while Retro is in the pits?
So Cargo's he is finally joined back now.
Right now.
And Fridays
also of note, Cargo still has a time penalty.
Yeah. How big is that time penalty? Let me check. He has 5 seconds. So if he doesn't serve it, at the end of in his next pit stop,
he's not stopping again. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. And Retro's come out right behind Cargo. Yeah, Retro's come out behind Cargo. I think Retro may have just won this race by virtue of Cargo speeding in the pit lane, honestly.
Yeah, it's a rookie mistake. You don't really see many people do it. But obviously, with the wet conditions, it's kind of easy to make. And yeah, this track is very, very dry now. So everyone is basically on softs now. But Atui isn't, and Fine Waldo isn't either.
Fratters and Stumpy are the two drivers still out on the circuit on the intermediate tires. Also, I just want to give a shout out to Fritz again. Fritz is not having the best handling car, at least not under wet. It seems like the car's come to him a bit. He's third right now. He's in position to walk out here with the top 5, maybe even a podium. So, absolutely outstanding job by the AlphaTauri.
And that's Books has gone, I think. No, it's Snake. Snake has gone. He's lost really a lot of his wing. That is going to be absolute heartbreak for the Merc driver, and that is not very good for him.
He's gonna have to make that car go all the way around the track before he can pit and repair it. Now he's 8th on the timesheet, 8th on the scoreboard right now, ahead of Books and Whippy. Stumpy is still out on the track. He's the only driver still in the intermediates. I have to wonder if maybe he's just trying to make him run as long as he can and jump onto the softs to try and put fastest lap of the race now. Also of note, DRS will probably, with the way this track is drying out and quickening up, I think we could see DRS start getting enabled in like another lap or 2.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Cargo will 51.8. The track is definitely drying out. Hopefully Cargo can maybe pull a 10-second gap, but I don't think it will. So Retro Rixie may have this in the bag. And Fritz could be in with a podium here today, and I think he'll be very happy if he does get one. As Atui does have a 3-second, so all he has to do is stay in 3 seconds with Atui, and he'll be good to go.
The gap between first and third, 24.3 seconds. So Cargo and Retro in a complete different zip code of their own right now. But also, Retro is actually falling off the back of Cargo just a bit. It looks like Cargo might, I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying he might be able to make it happen and might be able to outrun his time penalty. It's going to be close.
Yeah,
I don't think it will happen, but it's possible.
Cargo seems to be really quicker on the straight. Snake is pitting, obviously, as he has major wing damage. That is going to be very bad heartbreak for him.
DRS has been enabled, and don't look now, the battle between Waldo and Schold has really heated up because Waldo's on the medium and Scold's on the soft. Yep, he's got it. He's going to get it, I think. No, they're making contact, and he spins! He goes around! He was way faster, but he ends up getting knocked around by Waldo. So Waldo's going to hold on to that for the moment. We're right on board with Schold as that happens.
That is Boovy. He's going to round again. And he's going to come in contact. I think that is with Fritz. He's going to have to move out of the way for blue flags here. As Fritz is really gaining on him now. Yeah, and he's moved out of the way for blue flags. So Boovy, not a very good race here today. Stumpy, he is on the soft tyre compound now, and he thinks it is dry enough to hop onto that tyre compound. Atui, he is really far away from Fritz now, so I think Fritz has got this in the bag for third. But Retro Rixie, he is 2 seconds to Cargo. Yeah, he's less than 2 seconds, should I say, sorry. So we could see Retro get another win here in X3. So,
yes, about 2.5 laps to go in this race. A very interesting race, but I want to give some brief credit. Despite the immense amount of chaos we've seen, we've only had 3 dropouts of the race. Tino Farah, who knocked out early, Smith, who knocked out early, and Constant Jet, who knocked out a little bit later. So I honestly was afraid we would see another event like what we saw at Azerbaijan, where we only had 10 drivers finishing at the end. So the fact that we still have 16 of our 19 starters on the track, really great to see, guys.
So Turbo in the Ferrari, he's in the points paying positions now, but he does have Snake near him. Obviously, as we know, Snake is a very quick driver, but when he loses rhythm really badly. So we could see maybe Snake challenge for that 1 points paying position, and I think that would really mean the world to him, as obviously he's running the 17 number and the pink helmet.
Yeah, the Mercedes driver is en route to potentially score points here today. Also, Whippy, although he does have a time penalty, his time penalty is even or less than the drivers around him, so he's on pace to finish in the 9th position as well. Maybe not as high as it could have been, but considering he got involved in incidents early on and had to pit really early to repair damage, I think still being able in the points is going to be really good for Whippy.
Yeah, I know. Oh, and that is, I think Boovy's gone again. He has. He's really struggling.
And now I have to wonder if maybe not only are the tires burned, I have to wonder if there's a potential issue with the setup of the car just not agreeing with the way this track is in the dry here.
Yeah, obviously these drivers was starting on really wet conditions. So they could have a wet setup on, and obviously the dry tyres are really overheating on a wet setup. So yeah, it's really a race to forget for Booby here today.
Snake is closing in on Turbo, but again, like you said, Alistair, he doesn't need to make the overtake. And he can go for it, he can try it, but he doesn't need to make it.
Yeah, I mean, Snake can play it safe. Obviously have a pace, but try not to get track violations here. Then you can just instantly gain the 10th position, and you're definitely not going to catch up to 9th as he would want to be, but that 1 point will probably mean the world to him, as he has had a very bad race here.
Riders and Stumpy are fighting a little bit further back.
Going to be a penalty come towards him for that collision with Stumpy, but that's for the stewards' side, not me.
Yeah, Friars and Stumpy are continuing their little fight for 12th and 13th. Both of these drivers on pace, and Stumpy has actually just set the fastest lap of the race, 146.666. But Stumpy and Fratters were both on pace to finish top 10. Incidents have happened. The cars were not properly set up for the rain. A lot of stuff has happened, and now they're just fighting for honor, not for points at this moment. So, really rough time, especially for Fratters.
He's really near turbo, and it's on his future without DRS. He's got overtaken Rich on. He's going to go too wide into this corner. There's usually contact in between the two drivers. Well, who's going to come out on top? Is it going to be Snake? And it is Snake.
Turbo is now within 2 seconds of Fratters. However, Fratters has a 16-second penalty. Turbo only has 6, so Turbo will probably hold on to 11th, but still another race where both of the Ferraris end up out of the points paying positions is not something you ever want to see. Meanwhile, back at the front, Cargo has opened up to a 3-second gap over Retro, but Cargo has also received a track limit violation, so he now has an 8-second time penalty. He's not going to pull out 5 seconds out of his rear end of that car in this last half a lap unless Retro wrecks. So congratulations to Retro Rixie. He's going to win this race by default, even though Cargo will have led most of the laps today. And then once again, Fritz, he's about 3 seconds ahead, about 2.4 seconds ahead of Ottawi, who also has penalties. So Fritz is going to be your surprise man on the podium today. Absolutely impressive ability. Really iffy when it came to Q1, but after that, he just pulled it out. He's en route for an outright run for the podium, so congratulations to Fritz on that. Ottawi's coming home fourth, so another really good run for the Alfa Romeo team for the Manufacturers Championship. Hubert, that magic that we normally talk about him having in the race, he has pulled it out in the magic we normally talk about him having in qualifying. He has pulled it out in the race. He's on track for 5th on the timesheets. But here comes Cargo coming out of the final corner, and he will cross the line.
Yeah,
there's your race winner.
Does get that win. I know obviously he's got another 5 seconds for not serving that penalty. so it'll be 18 seconds. Fritz will unfortunately not get second, he is far behind, but he'll be very
Fritz
happy.
just got a penalty at the last minute. I mean, the drivers behind him also already have a penalty, so it shouldn't upset anything too much. But that's a little bit of a shame. He had pretty much a clean race there.
Yeah.
Oh, and one of the McLarens.
Yeah,
that's Stumpy. Stumpy has gone around. The car's still underway, but just adding insult to injury for him.
Yeah.
Fine Waldo's coming down now. Again, front wing damage on Waldo, and he does not care. Waldo, big wrecking balls of the race award from me, I say. Ran so much of the race with the damaged front wing. Scholl's gonna come home 7th. Here comes Books. He's about 2 seconds ahead of Whippy, and both of them have 3-second time penalties. So one of the Mercedes at least will finish in the points. And here comes Whippy now. He will get points as well. Snake well farther back down the order, but he will round out the points-paying positions when he comes across the line. Also, Turbo, 6-second penalty. Fratters, 16-second penalty. Herbie has... Oh, so this could get interesting. So the gap between Fratters and Herbie is just close enough that if Herbie can get within 4 seconds of Fratters, he'll be able to pick up 12th from him. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it is something to consider. Turbo's going to come across the line now. And now here comes Fratters. And now here comes Herbie. At the line. No, Herbie got a 3-second time penalty at the last possible moment, so that's not going to matter. And Stumpy will be the last driver to finish the race. And that will conclude your event. But once again, another race where the Alfa Romeo cars were some of the strongest throughout, but at the end, Retro Rixie naturally comes to the top. Driver of the day, WCD Hubert. Yeah, I could agree with that game. I can agree with that. Coming from the last row to 5th. Yeah, absolutely. So...
Yeah, that's an amazing race from him, but obviously we have a actual vote, but well done to Fritz, man. What an amazing race from him. Retro Rixie, another win to his name, and Cargo unfortunately doesn't get the win, but you know, it is what it is. I think he'll be happy with second. Would have liked to got first, but you know, that's every driver. Yeah, obviously amazing race from Fritz here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Fritz and Hubert, out without a doubt, were the most impressive drivers in my mind today. Just absolutely wonderful runs by both of them. But there's your final results. We're going to real quickly try and talk with Retro, and I also want to talk to Fritz and Hubert
Fritz.
as well, because both of them had outright outstanding moves. I'm going to try and... I want to talk to everyone in the top 3, and I want to talk to Hubert also, if possible, because everyone at the front kind of had a really, really interesting race, and I do want to hear what their stories were. Credit to Find Waldo and Scholl, those two drivers, no time penalties the entire race, so absolutely outstanding job. Same thing with XRL Snake. All right.
Get in there, lad. All right. You two include audio, please, lads.
All right, first I want to talk to Retro Rixie. Retro, congratulations on another victory. What do you have to say about this race in general? An absolutely chaotic one at that.
Absolutely mental. Yeah, didn't think it was going to happen with the drive-through, and then yeah, just trying to keep up with Cargo, setting the pace lap after lap, and then had a couple of strategy calls go my way, and yeah, really chuffed for that one.
Smashed it, Retro. Well done.
Cheers, buddy. You kept up the work as well. That's top. Yeah, a really strong pace out there today. Yeah, me too. I'm buzzing.
No, Fritz, I just want to say absolutely outstanding run, but real quickly, I do want you to take us back to the very start of the day, back in Q1. Please run us through Q1 from your perspective.
I can't even remember Q1 now. I genuinely can't remember it. As soon as I saw there was race, I thought, rain, my night was over.
Yeah, well, you pulled it back to third, mate. Amazing job.
Cheers.
I bet you're chuffed for that, aren't you?
I am. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm going to go celebrate.
Alright, Fritz, well, thank you for joining us. Well done on the third position and celebrate. And yeah, good job, man.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, good race, mate.
See you later.
Yeah, and once again to Retro, another victory on your end. Just want to say congratulations. your championship prospects are looking very, very solid right now. So if you can keep this up.
Every point counts at the minute. Yeah, and Cargo's keeping me tight all the way. So yeah, it's going to be a great finish. Can't
In a
wait.
league of your own, you two.
I won't go that far, but we're getting there. Yeah.
All right, well, there's your word from our first place finisher and our third place finishers. Absolutely outstanding race, though, from all over. And also, we weren't able to get in contact with them again. I want to just mention WCD Hubert. Qualifying ban didn't even get a turn lapse in qualifying. It didn't matter. He was able to come out and finish fifth. So absolutely outstanding job by him as well. So, and most of those positions weren't just inherited. Like, he actually was making overtakes on the track as well. So great job by Hubert. But yeah, absolutely outstanding moves. Drives all the way through the field. A lot of penalties that end up kind of making issues, and we'll probably see some penalties coming post-race. But yeah, great job. Ozda, at this point, looking back, what do you have to say about our X3 race here at Belgium?
I think Cargo's a bit unlucky with that Sweeney penalty, but he should have been a little bit more careful in the pits. And obviously, he didn't make another stop, so it made it 10 seconds rather than 5 because it doubles it. But that played in the hands of Retro Rixie, and yeah, he got another win to his name. Needs to keep the pace up, and obviously Fritz with that amazing drive to get third. You know, I think he's my personal driver of the day, but I don't want to persuade anybody else to vote for him. But amazing drive. Yeah, amazing drive. And also Stumpy for getting his Q2. That was Q3. Sorry, that was an amazing appearance from him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was
yeah.
quick behind me
Same
at
thing.
one point.
Well, I'll say this: if you're gonna go for Fritz for driver of the day, I say Hubert. So, but yeah, absolutely outstanding moves all the way around. But the big thing, I think, the biggest takeaway though, was keeping up with the track, but not hyper predicting it, because we saw Boothie had ability and had pace all day long. But he made the decision to jump onto the softs a lap too early, ended up spinning an entire lap, struggling, and then when the track finally dried out, the softs were already burned up, and he just had no luck whatsoever, last of everyone on the track. So proper prediction of how the track was going to adjust really came into play here. We saw drivers like Whippy, who ended up involved in incidents earlier on. He made the proper calls when it came to how the track would change. He ended up getting back into the points because of that. So yeah, that would be the biggest takeaway I would have from today's race myself.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It was a very interesting race, and yeah, so yeah.
Yep. So anyways, unless you have something else to say, I think we should probably start wrapping up our broadcast here. Unless anything else from anyone?
Nope.
No, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Well.
Guys.
Once again, congratulations on that win, Retro, and on your podium, Fritz.
Yes.
So anyways, this has been XRL X3 here at Spa-Francorchamps in the country of Belgium. I've been Insanely R13, and I've been joined by XRL Ozda, broadcasting for Extreme Racing League. In about an hour's time, X2 on the main channel, Extremer Leagues, will go underway at the same track. I'll be there doing the broadcasting for that as well. I'm really going to be looking forward to that. But anyways, we'll see you around. If I don't see you in an hour's time, I will probably see you next week for the next X3 broadcast. Have a good time, everyone, and good night.
Night.